Hello everybody, it's F1 75 seasons of the Formula One World Championship, and for 70 of those 75 seasons we've been coming down to Monaco for a little afternoon race. And here on this Sunday, stand by for something just a little bit different. Mandatory 2 pit stops to give us a strategic shake-up and induce some entertainment and excitement into a race where everyone changed their tyres after one lap in a red flag last year. Lap record for Lando Norris in qualifying. First lap here, under 70 seconds to take pole yesterday.
You can already see that Lando Norris is pointing towards the left. He wants to build himself a bit of space for a nice wide turn in to the first corner if he can.
This time last year, Charles Leclerc was on pole. He came home to take that historic victory, heroic victory for the Monegasque in his home country. What can he do today? We're all set on the grid here in Monte Carlo. It's lights out and away we go. Norris gets away brilliantly. Charles Leclerc's coming at him. Hadjar on the inside, trying. There's a lock up there from Lando Norris, but he makes it into the first turn. That was a bit scary for him for a few moments, and they're all making their way around Sandoval and safely through. Charles Leclerc on the inside, almost spotted a gap through Massenet. Nothing doing there. Piastri in third, then Verstappen, Isaac Hadjar, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Esteban Ocon and Liam Lawson.
As we saw, Lando then, this is a horrible lockup with full tanks of fuel, and he will have little flat spots on both those front tyres.
And unlike in Imola last week, Oscar Piastri fends off Max Verstappen, who was trying to go around the outside of the right-hander, not a left-hander this time around. At the back, there's a lock-up from Lance Stroll. Ollie Behrman on the inside, trying to get past the Aston Martin, but he thought better of it and backed out. Didn't want to pick up any damage down the inside there. Goes Kimi Antonelli and into the barrier. Goes Gabriel Bortoleto, one of 6 rookies in this race, and the Sauber is stranded at Portier. And the virtual safety car has been deployed.
This is so Bottas gone round the outside of the hairpin and taken the place, and Antonelli's decided he's having it straight back again.
Well, the gap was there.
Kimi push me out.
Can't see anyone going too slowly, but we have got a double-waved yellow. Alex Albon right up the tail of Liam Lawson, and that's the double-waved yellow for Pierre Gasly. Now, is this going to result in teams pitting? Are we going to get a virtual safety car? Is Gasly going to get back to the pits? He hasn't got long to go, but that wheel is hanging on by a thread.
You're absolutely told to park him straight away. Of course, you've got no brakes. So there'll be debris over about 500 metres. Debris everywhere. And this is big risk for a puncture for the leaders.
And that was Max Verstappen on Oscar Piastri. He's all over the back of him, out of the chicane. Have a look at the incident. Into the tunnel we go. That's Yuki Tsunoda ahead of Pierre Gasly into the daylight, dropping down under braking. Oh!
So I'm amazed if that hasn't damaged Tsunoda's car.
Mate, he would have taken my front wing off. He didn't leave space. What is that? He would have crashed. Mate, I had the right to be there.
It was all a bit touch and go in there. Let's have a look. There's your double yellows, which
so we
means
can't overtake.
Got to slow down. And there you can't go again until you pass the green flag, and they hadn't got to the green flag.
Correct.
So I don't think Piastri will be in any trouble for that one.
On board with Alex Albon into that Nouvelle chicane. He's certainly got a pace advantage over Liam Lawson. Can he find a way to try and get past the other Racing Bulls? Career best start, a 5th on the grid, and the highest ever start for the team here in Monaco. Now pits. Where's Hadjar going to come out? They will hope it'll be just in front of Liam Lawson, his teammate.
It's worked out really well for Hadjar. Nice tactics from Racing Bulls. He's rejoined 8th in front of Lawson. So, case of champagne from Hadjar to his teammate Liam Lawson. He created a gap for Hadjar to pit onto the soft and go right back just ahead of Lawson. Nice one, Racing Bulls.
What do you need from me? I'm 4th now. This is our race.
Push now, Fernando. I don't have to do much info. Let's keep pushing now. I'm going to cover Hamilton.
I can't push now!
It pitted Behrman back out into free air again, but that's a big ask to go 50-odd laps on the medium compound tyre. It's hard for Lewis Hamilton, and he should come out ahead here of Isaac Hadjar, who's just making his way around Raskas, the final corner, and along the main straight. Hamilton at 60 kilometres an hour after pushing and indulging in a spot of hammer time, is now back out onto the track, and he has leapfrogged Isaac Hadjar. Here's Lando Norris, race leader, about to come into the pits. He's led this race from the starts. Charles Leclerc carries on and will now take the lead.
Box to overtake Leclerc, box to overtake Leclerc.
And Lawson holding people up enough for Hadjar to get those two stops out of the way. He's looking good now to the end of the race. Oh, Piastri, that's a very, very long stop for Oscar Piastri, about 2 seconds further than he would have, longer than he would have wanted.
And that gives Red Bull a chance, doesn't it, to leapfrog Piastri.
And Oscar Piastri is just making his way through the tunnel currently. So if Leclerc pits now, the prediction is that that will be the gap to Piastri, which should be nice and safe to get Leclerc back out comfortably ahead of the McLaren. The crew get to work, off go the mediums, on go the hard side. That was simply magnificent from the Ferrari crew there.
Sainz is backing up.
Yeah, he was just given a target of 19.0. So he's going to start backing you up now, I suspect.
There's your team game.
Surprise moment, good.
There's your team game, isn't it?
Yeah, you need a calendar to time that, not a stopwatch.
Always looking good for Max Verstappen about a lap and a half ago, but you're right, the lap times have now slowed down, and he's also coming to the back of the train that has Sainz down to Hulkenberg, so that will slow him down even further, and out come the Red Bull crew into the pit lane. Max Verstappen is going to be pitting.
Yes, there he is.
There he comes. Tsunoda carried on. Verstappen comes into the pits now in the shade, nice and cool for the crews, and a very slick stop. There goes Lando Norris, 2.3 seconds for Max Verstappen. Here comes Charles Leclerc. Next car is Gabriel Bortoleto, being lapped by Oscar Piastri. Piastri is still then ahead in this race of Max Verstappen.
See what unfolds. Their logic is that if you're P11 or last, it's the same, you haven't scored any points, so it's irrelevant whether you are 11th or 19th or 20th.
Oh,
and
Ted, just a couple of seconds. Fernando Alonso is pulling out to retire, and look at that. That, as disappointing as that is for Fernando Alonso, he has gone straight to a gap and has got his car out of the way. So we can cover this under yellow flags without the need for a safety car.
Yeah, retire the car, smoke.
And that tagline, Ted, of the unluckiest man in Formula One continues. Pointless after 8 races, his worst start to a season in 10 years.
Albon now pits. Has he got a pit stop behind him? He will have by the end of this lap, because he's so much faster than Sainz, so he'll come out in front of Sainz.
So they're hoping that, Albon will come into the pits in a couple of seconds. I think there's a nice gap between Hamilton and Sainz on the track. And also coming into the pits, Liam Lawson. So the crews are going to get to work here, Martin.
Yeah, and then Sainz can get on with it then, finally, once Albon's got this out of the way. Ted.
So this is absolutely for position, and it needs to be perfect from from Racing Bulls. It is, but can I just take my hat off once again to Racing Bulls and their strategy today? Come on. I mean, I know it's been using, the helpful, unhelpful teammate, but they've just played a blinder.
They have, I agree, Ted, because they've got their 4 pit stops out of the way for the 2 cars, and they're running 6th and 8th.
Yeah, and this result will leapfrog them into 6th place in the championship. James Vowles on the Williams pit wall. It didn't work with Sainz holding up Albon. Are you trying to now leapfrog Liam Lawson with Albon holding up everyone else for Sainz?
So Carlos did a fantastic job. He let Alex do both of his stops, so Alex is now good to the end of the race. And now we're going to do it the other way around. This isn't how I like to go racing, but that's what the rules have created.
Well, Piastri has decided that I'm the championship leader. Now's a very good time to come in, because I might have been catching that pack as well. And that stop was a lot faster than his first stop in the race. And they found a nice gap behind Hadjar and Ocon.
Yeah, it was a good stop by McLaren. However, we now have a safety car window over them, so let's go.
Karoon, to you.
I think Piastri had to do that because of Lewis Hamilton, Crofty. He's come out just 2.7 ahead of Hamilton, who was running at a reasonable pace. So McLaren, I think, were a bit concerned that if they had an issue on the stop again, he could have dropped back, as Leclerc has come into the pits. Very quick, 2.2 seconds. They've had to respond to Piastri.
and Oscar Piastri is ahead still of Lewis Hamilton, but still a few seconds, 5 seconds or so, I think, back to where he needed to be.
And Lewis Hamilton can pit at any point. He's got a minute gap behind him to Hadjar at the moment and not lose out, as we see this time George Russell going straight through the chicane. Surely he'll have to give that place back, won't he?
He's going to take the 5-second penalty. Yeah, it could be. I think intentional corner crossing is worse.
Just a little reminder to the stewards there, who are investigating George Russell for leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
Avoid a collision from Albon. Just slammed on the brakes.
So we need to give that position back to Albon.
I'll take the penalty. He's driving erratically.
So, with Charles Leclerc pitting and fresh tyres banging in the sector time, now's a good time for McLaren to get Lando Norris out. 2.2 seconds, that was good.
Yeah, it's a good stop. He should be comfortably ahead of Leclerc. Leclerc was about 5-6 seconds behind him. This is risky territory for Norris and McLaren. Verstappen ahead of them will be very reluctant to be passed because he wants to keep track position, and he will be very happy to back Norris into Leclerc and see if they can't trip over each other.
Okay, mate, doing really good. Obviously, Verstappen will just trying to hang it out from VSC or worse.
Yeah, look, a red flag now, and Max Verstappen is absolutely in the box seat. A safety car at this very moment. He could get a pit stop and stay out ahead of Lando Norris. All things being equal, he will come out once he makes his final pit stop ahead of Hamilton and behind Piastri. Oscar Piastri is now less than 6 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. Through the Nouvelle chicane we go. And both Norris and Leclerc actually last lap were about half a second slower than Max Verstappen. So Verstappen succeeded in just bringing Leclerc into play in Lando Norris's wing mirrors, and now he's scampering off a little bit.
Towards the end, we will swap the cars back. Okay, let's do our race until the last stop. We never know what can happen in front. Alex will finish the race behind Norris.
And they'll do it, I'm sure, out of the chicane, on board as we are, with the Williams of Alex Albon. And Carlos Sainz makes way. He was always going to swap around, and they're back to 9th and 10th. Albon ahead of Sainz.
Cheery little wave there from Alex Albon.
Where's Oscar? I need him to put Charles under some pressure.
Yeah, he does.
He's coming.
He really
coming.
does. He really
there
does.
He is.
So if he does win this race, Lando, it'll be just as hard, well, maybe not just as hard as Melbourne, but pretty stressful, won't it, Crofty?
I just wonder, is there enough grip, Martin? Is there enough juice in those tyres to make a dart down the inside? Maybe at Raskas coming up, try and catch Lando a little bit by surprise.
He's much quicker, isn't he, than Lando either is or wants to be at the moment, because Charles is braking, able to brake and just coast into the corners, carrying a lot more speed. But this is the critical bit yet again. Look how Norris just takes off, and that means that even with DRS on board as we are, we will never catch him, let alone be in a position to overtake into the first corner.
Charles Leclerc, if he's going to do it, if he's going to do anything, he's going to have to try and do it now to get past Lando Norris, and nothing doing at Raskas.
But if Norris has got a little bit more pace, he can now finally use it now that Verstappen is out of the road.
Yeah, because the clear air comes to Lando Norris's aid. Max Verstappen stops. Lewis Hamilton's just going through the tunnel as he makes his way down the pit lane to preserve that 4th place. He won the opening race of the season in Australia, and he's been kept waiting to get back onto the top step of the podium, but the wait is not going to wait much longer. Lando Norris rounds the final corner, a record lap in qualifying to take pole, and victory in Monaco for the first time in his career. Lando Norris wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc comes home for a fabulous second that he didn't think was possible on Wednesday night. Oscar Piastri third. It's a 1-3 for McLaren, and a strong race for them.
There you go. P1 in Monaco, baby. Monaco, baby! Yeah, baby!
Touch of the Jensen buttons about that one.
We did it. Well done. We won in Monaco. That's a dream. Well done, guys. Unbelievable job. Amazing weekend. Thank you so much.
And Norris, just to prove his point, did the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the final tour, 1:13.221, and he had it all covered, didn't he? He just didn't want to get too close to what would be the hind legs of a donkey if he got too close to the back of Max's car, and that seals the perfect weekend for Lando Norris.